Well, good evening, all. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is from, let's see, where are we? Wednesday, the 24th of April, went blank there, 2024. You know, you can look behind me at all these prices, but the real action came out after the market today. Meta released its earnings. What if I tell you the stock beat on numbers galore? One number came out, and this stock fell 20% in aftermarket trading. That's a big number for Meta. And I'm sure, I don't know where it's at right now, but there'll be people there that are probably gobbling it up on a nearly $80 plus break in the stock. Why? Because Zuckerberg was very realistic, and he said the cost to build out AI between software, you've got to build the data centers, you've got to get the energy costs, you got to get all this together. It's insane. It is the next wave, and at some point you got to bite into it to get this going. Well, the market got really nervous about that, and that's what I've been warning you. By the way, Meta's not one of these stocks selling at 30 PEs of 30. It is way under that. So when I looked at it, and I go, and I said this last week, you're going to get the earnings, and on the tech stocks, if it's not priced to perfection, you got to be careful. IBM had the same problem. Their numbers, when you look over the sheet, look good, but the consulting number missed. And what the chairman said was, well, what they're running into is that their customers are belt-tightening. Okay, getting everybody onto AI, as much as you hear it, a lot of companies, they're going to walk into it. They're not going to run into it. The huge big boys that don't have big debt balance sheets, they can do whatever they want. But normal businesses, no. And IBM deals with a lot of normal businesses, nice size ones, but that's what they ran into. Then you flip around, Ford. Once it backed away from electric vehicles and it turned itself to commercial and hybrids, profit right up, stock gives you a nice pop. Chipotle. Think about this company. Salmonella, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, every week we heard a new case. And look at how well that company has come back. So there are winners, there are losers, but it's interesting to see that the winners that are coming out right now are more hardcore businesses, not the tech businesses right now, even though some of the numbers are actually pretty good in these tech businesses. It's the consulting, it's the AI, it's the cost. This is a major headwind, sort of like EV. At some point, we'll say maybe we're a little ahead of ourselves. So you got to be careful on that. Even in NVIDIA, each day that goes by, there's another chip manufacturer that can do something similar maybe, getting closer maybe. And you got to worry about that eventually. When you and I come to eBay, this has been a rally in a market that I'm labeling so far a bear market rally. Why? Well, the swing line is up, that's for certain. But you always look to see where your key moving averages are. And if you get a rally like this and you're under the 18-day moving average of closes, which you are, I call this a bounce in a market that's been overall bearish. We'll see what happens. Now, I'm thinking that their earnings are going to be good. They don't have to put a fortune into AI and all that. And as we talked this week, and I had a lot of you write me about how you use eBay just the way I do, the company has matured, and there's areas of it that are just what I use it for. I'm more than happy. You bounced off the Bollinger Bands into that. It's waiting to see what is next. I mean, that's just where you've taken this. You've even carried the market where it's no longer an oversold territory, but it's getting close to a neutral reading. Anything near 50 is neutral. See where we go. Then we get to Tesla. So yesterday, I think I said this wrong. I think I said that autonomous would be ready 2024, 2025. I didn't mean to say that. That's down the road, but happening. My friends live in Phoenix, one of my closest friends. He lives here in Chicago and there. And he's telling me where he lives, which is Scottsdale, he sees these driverless cars all over the place. He goes, it's the weirdest thing you've ever seen. And that is what's going to happen. I told him he should call one of the services, go in and see how it feels. And I know he won't. He'll be a pussy, as I call him. But that's what I would be doing. And I just want to see what is really going on the inside of this thing. But that's good. What Musk did yesterday is he said, we are not going to bring you cheaper cars. We are doing it, and we are accelerating that. That's all the market had to hear. You get a 12% gain. Now, his timelines rarely make sense. The history of his timelines don't match up with his goals. So for those of you that think this is going to happen right away, okay. UGA. You've got a market that's been in a move to the downside. I was reading a report today by AAA, and I think they said that right now, and this was yesterday at the end of the day, I read the report, that the average gallon price now is $3.66. It hasn't soared the way they thought. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. We've certainly got a lot more gasoline. Russia has been able to manufacture more than we thought they would, given all the hits the refineries have taken. And by the way, mentioning that, Ukraine's gotten from the U.S., I guess, very stealthy way, longer range missiles, and they've used them twice now. So that's very interesting. And of course, with the monies they're getting and $1 billion worth of goods immediately on their ways in armaments, the war will change a bit. But at the end of the day, I was thinking about it. I think where this ends up is Ukraine does not keep all its country. I think there'll be a line that is drawn, and Russia's getting an encroachment, and that's the way this thing is going to end, is my own guess. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying you're running already into where the U.S. doesn't want to keep giving this amount of money. And under Trump, if he wins, it'll be a lot different. And under Biden, if he wins, look at the problems already getting this done. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Money speaks. In XLF, lower low, higher high. The battleground's right here at the 18-day average of closes. I think the market's waiting to see the report that comes out on Friday, the PCE index, which brings me to this. Let's take a look at what you get tomorrow. You got your first quarter look, your preliminary look at GDP. That's coming out at 7:30, and it is an important number. Not as important as Friday's PCE indices that come out. You get jobless claims. They're not looking for a big amount jump, but they're looking for a decline. National Association of Realtors pending home sales, that comes out at 9. We get the natural gas storage, that's going to come out at 9:30. And the KC Fed Manufacturing Composite and Business Activity Index at 10. All right, you're not hearing from any Fed members. Remember, it's the quiet period in front of the next Fed meeting, so none will have public speaking engagements. Okay, let's go back to the charts. When we come to the industrial sector, again, one of these bounces in a market that's been under the 18-day average. So the rallies are bear market bounces. I wanted the market to get up to the 18-day average. I call this close enough. You got today within 7 cents of the 18-day average. Doesn't have to get much closer. I love when it hits it. Who wouldn't like the perfection of that? But be careful right here. This market, it can go either which way off of the coming up reports. In Freeport, you could see how it slipped back, and I'm watching people on CNBC, and they're going, I love Freeport for this reason, that, and they are right. However, they're not right in terms of looking at chart action. And the chart action has been coming down. Let the market work that off. You've had lower highs, lower lows, and you're at the lower Bollinger Band, so you're in a support zone. But I would let GDP at least get by me before I'd be looking at any of that. The consumer. So we came down and you lost the bearish reading. So let me walk you into this because this is so important. This is when you have your bearish reading. I told you I thought that because we had been under the 100-day average, I was looking for support there on the first break to that in the Bollinger Band as it was riding it down, and it just slid through it like nothing. That means on the way back up, often you pay some attention. If the market can pop beyond that, then you get up possibly to the 18-day average of closes. And you can see that's what the market's trying to make its run at right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if it gets closer than that to it. In the home builders, Here too, you lost the bearish embedded reading. I really wanted it to get down here, but you're close enough. You're out of the downtrend. You're not in an uptrend. The highs that began yesterday, not today, took out that prior high. That ended this break of constantly lower highs, lower lows, basically. On the energy sector, it's gotten up and it got married for 4 days in a row to the 18-day average of closes. So this market probably comes alive if GDP is strong, if the PCE is lower. But a strong PCE might fly in the face of that. Why? Because it's going to keep the Fed on hold longer. Set of strong numbers, one of their favorite indicators being the Fed, and they're seeing inflation isn't marching its way down. It certainly doesn't mean they're moving in June. And I know so many people are hoping, I see it on CNBC, it's July, it's July. I'm not in that camp at all. You know that. I've said that. I'd rather say I'm wrong here. Boy, was I wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, though. We'll see what it does right through here. The gold market. Well, if gold slips under the lows on GLD of Tuesday, you might make a run here. If it's going to find its footing, it's going to stick against that 18-day average for a little bit. Silver, the same thing, identical actually in the pattern. Copper, the same thing. So we watch very carefully. Could you have outside days where you take out those lows and snap back up and change the opinion? Certainly you could. But otherwise, you're still working your way down at this point. In TLT, you had an outside day up. For those of you that take my outside day course, we'll see how this works. But if you take out this low of yesterday, you got a problem in the market, and you did that. Now we get to see, is it going to hit the objective as I teach it in the course, or say, no, that's not in play. It's going to happen right away. UUP, the dollar. Well, it stayed embedded. And as I told you, the futures lost it. It's very strange. And FXE, well, you've made your run at the 18-day average. Will there be more to it where you get right to it? That's what we're going to find out. The market over here just hung in, and now you're popping up. So there could be a little more play here, but it's one that you got to keep your eyes on to see just where this market will or won't carry you. In the morning, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be going through, in my morning subscriber video, are there any opportunities off these breaks that just happened? You know, some people will be looking tonight. I mean, a 20% break in Meta right away. For those that have had money on the sideline, they want to own it. What are you waiting for? 25, 30%? I mean, there's a number there where people will just throw it at a dartboard like this. I'll buy some and I'll just forget I own it. I cover all those markets. We cover daily and weekly charts. On the weekend, you get the subscriber video with the weekly charts, and we look at a few daily. But it's the opposite, longer-term view. And I'm not a day trader. You know, to me, a short-term trade, if it works, can be weeks. Long-term trade could be something you hold for a very, very long period of time. So how do you get this all? You just go to iraepstein.com, or you can move your cursor up here. You'll see an icon. It'll take you to the area called Research on the top right. Give it a click, and away you go. I'm Ira. You have a good weekend. Or, no, I said that wrong. A good day. I was hoping it was going to be a weekend. We're going to be in the 70s in Chicago, 40 today. You take care.